Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are across this great wide world of ours. I'm going to continue this on the Bureau of Indian Affairs from this point forward. I'm going to just refer to it as the BIA. And the point I'm going to talk about is going back to this historical drama. And when we think about this, we're talking about how Native Americans, for the most part, were forced more westward uh, throughout the centuries. We can go all the way back to King Philip's War in the 1673, 75 era, and that mentality by European white settlers. I'm this point forward just European settlers because I am not, this distinction between, uh, whether people were white or mixed, but I'm just going to say white European settlers. And the, the point here that comes out of this, for the most part, especially from this one, for 1675 forward, we talk about replacement or movement of Native American cultures off their lands that they had known through centuries and being pushed more westward or being pushed more to the south when the original 13 colonies started to take form. And this also became, even in the what was known as the Hundred Years' War, or what's commonly called the French Indian War from 1754 to 1763, and the mentality of how the Native Americans were fighting to keep their lands, and each time they were fighting on the approachment of European settlements that were coming into their area, and the one of the causes or one of the uh, results of this and this continuous distrust of white Europeans in European settlements was the Proclamation 1763, which referred to that many of the Native Americans um, would not lose their lands west of the Appalachian Mountains. And it was called the Proclamation of 1763, and settlers were supposed to go west of that, or they would be in trouble. Needlessly to say, the settlements started going into what is now Pennsylvania, parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, parts of Georgia, Alabama, and consequently, what would happen is these treaties would be signed, and they would move more uh, tribals or reservation people more westward. The consequences of this is that the mistrust and the hatred to the federal government just increased. Uh, we had incidents as we move forward. When we had the Revolutionary War, we had certain tribes fight for the British, and the tribes fight for the Americans, and the Americans would guarantee them lands, which they would sign a treaty with, and they would break that treaty. Those who fought for the British uh, would lose because the British lost the war of independence, and consequently, those were moved more westward too. So, what we have here is a pattern set by Europeans of moving more settlements westward and pushing the natives more westward as they go. And part of this goes into the philosophy of Christianity. And we talk about how there's a settlement of the wilderness. And people at this time would think of a key point of this is Thomas Jefferson would often refer to Native Americans as savages. And the word itself, Indian, I think is a bad connotation in itself. Another reason I think that we need to transform the BIA, because really Bureau of Indian Affairs. I mean, it's not even follows the rationale behind it, but it's just a point that it needs to be changed or reformed, because even the word itself, like I said, case in point could be, calling an indigenous agency IA instead of calling it the BIA. So there again, it's the point that I think that this was well established in the 1830s and has to been moved forward. And then when we talk about the Bureau itself, and was established under the Secretary of War, John C. Calhoun, who, needless to say, put it under the Secretary of War, because then that way it became, if there were problems, he could bring in the War Department, or in other words, the cavalry, to settle rebellions down. And needless to say, this occurred all the way through, much through the 19th century and early 20th century, when we would have Black Hawk Wars, which Abraham Lincoln fought for, all the way up to Wounded Knee in 1892, 1894, and issues that would lead more and more to this historical drama. And like I said, this is imprint that even we can say that about African Americans, and the N word that used to be used. I think that the word Indian can be used in that same connotation as well. It really is a demeaning word to himself. Granted, like I said, that it was founded by Christopher Columbus, because he thought he found India, and he called the people Indians. And more or less that word stuck. And like I said, Cortez would use it, Columbus would use it, all these Europeans, leaders would use these, call them Indians. And other connotations like noble savages. And the point becomes out of this is that there was never a time that we look at this where there was an understanding that came about even a meeting. I often think of the meeting to William Henry Harrison at Tecumseh, and this initial meeting met in Indiana, but the point was it was a very volatile meeting, and there was never a meeting of the minds, and there was this thing of lost in translation, where either one warring factors wanted to create not hostilities rather than come up with this solution. Because up to this point, and we're talking 1812, and this is before the establishment of the BIA, which occurred, like I said, in, I believe, under Calhoun. And then later Calhoun would move the BIA into the Interior Department, which was founded in March of 34, while I believe in 1825, John C. Calhoun put the BIA under the War Department. And that there in itself, that's another reason that I think that we need to seriously look at the issue of the BIA and the historical drama that occurred through this. And I've been in contention about this because, like I said, my PhD, I look at team building, leadership, and really we're not really leading or helping Native American culture. we're kind of leaving it stagnant the way it is. We're not really creating the right format for it. So I really think the whole thing needs to be dismantled, and really the issues need to be helping the individual tribes and not the bureaucracy that exists today. So this is part of the reason on this, and I was thinking about this last night doing this video. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to reach out to me or email me at bthomasmillerpsych@gmail.com. Also remember, I have books available on Amazon self-published. Got quite a few, 8 or 9 of them. Trying to work out a deal with a publisher right now to get them a website created and where all the books will be available. But anyway, please like and subscribe. Please share this information to other people. This is an election year, and this is one reason that I'm pushing this as well, is so that we can make the changes that are needed on reservations. And anyway, like I said, folks, please like and subscribe. Please share this channel with friends. And hopefully in the near future we'll talk later. I probably will make another BIA video next week. I'm working on, like I said, my next book on on how changes should occur within the Interior Department about the BIA, which really never took place. Even though there are some changes, I think they're not as positive and in the solution that they need to be in. And like I said, part of this goes with the historical drama that I just talked about here a few minutes ago. So anyway, folks, talk to you real soon and have a great day. Bye.